All right, so making progress on the two-wheel drive to four-wheel drive conversion on my 96 F150 here. This is the transfer case shifter. That's the hole that I had to cut. I made a template, went out to the local pick your part place and traced a four-wheel drive that was out there. It happened to be an F250, not a 150, but it appears that it was the same thing. I transferred it under there. It came out pretty good. Some of the corners aren't the way I wanted them to. I just used a hole saw in the corners and then an abrasive saw and a die grinder, a little cutoff wheel to connect the hole saw holes that I had made and come out with a rectangle. So that's that. Had to trim the carpet back a little bit. No, not the carpet, but I got a rubber floor mat in this one. But same thing would have to happen with a carpet. Fits pretty well. I may have to do some trimming in the future. I don't know. I don't have it screwed down, but it seems to fit right. Everything's hooked up down there now, so it definitely takes more force to do this. So I don't know, maybe I'm gonna have to go in there and put some new bushings in or something. I don't know, because you push it down and it still doesn't quite want to go. But it does work. Maybe it's good that it's hard to move. You probably don't want it to be too easy to move. It's not like you're doing it every shift or something. So maybe that's the way it should be. I'll look into that. Going under here, it's definitely looking more like a four-wheel drive. There's the hole that I cut with the shifter mechanism. This is an E4OD transmission. I put a pan, I don't remember the model of transmission, 4R100 or something like that. Uses basically the same pan, but it's got the drain in it. So I went ahead and took one of those off the truck that I made the template from, so that I have a drain hole in my trans pan. Just in case this transmission doesn't work, I can at least save $120 worth of ATF for when I get one rebuilt, which hopefully won't have to happen, but we'll find out here pretty soon. Moving back, there's the transfer case. This one I completely rebuilt, so I'm fairly confident that everything's right with it. Factory drive shaft, everything fit perfect and bolted directly in place the way it should. The only thing that was kind of a surprise was the cross member. I had read that the two-wheel drive cross member would work. And at least in the case of this one, this is a 96 F150 with an original 5-liter E4OD two-wheel drive. At least in this case, that cross member absolutely did not work. Luckily, I had saved the cross member from the donor vehicle, and it bolted right in place. I had to use all of its brackets, including this upper bracket. It's actually easier to use this cross member. It didn't require quite as much trouble to get it in and out. So everything else is clearing fine. There's no problems with clearance around the cats. I got to put the shield back on that cat. Pretty much everything's as expected. All the connectors worked. I even had the wiring for what I think is the four-wheel drive light. I don't know if I have the bulb in that position, or if that's even a thing on the dash. So I guess I'll find that out as well when I start testing this thing. The only thing I've got left to put together is the transcooler line, because this truck did not have a transcooler originally. So I put one in out of a donor vehicle. It's actually a heavy duty one. I think it came out of an F350. So the lines aren't all correct, unfortunately. I'm having to shorten them because the transcooler itself is bigger. Probably could have left that a little more simple for myself if I just used the OEM transcooler that came with the donor vehicle, but I wanted a little bit bigger one. Not really any other surprises. I had to use my two-wheel drive dipstick, trans dipstick. The one that came with this was actually shorter, and it bolted to one of the bell housing bolts. This one didn't. It appears that they're both the same length. It's a two-piece dipstick tube, and it looks like they're both the same length after that split. So I'm pretty sure this is going to show the right level. But this is how on this 96 5-liter, that's how it fits there. It's actually a little bit easier. It's longer. It's up here where it's easier to get to. So hopefully that gives me a correct reading. So that's where I am for now. There's the cooler. You can see it uses up a good part of that opening. I think it's off of an F350. Everything's hooked up except this line. I've got to do some finagling, some extra bends, I think, in the factory tubing to effectively shorten it, to make up for the fact that this cooler is, I don't remember, it seems like it's about maybe 6 or 7 rows bigger than the one that would have come in an F150. So I think ultimately I'll be happy that I did it, just causing me a little bit of extra work. So that's where I am for now. I'll try to do another video as soon as I start this up. I'm going to try to drive it around before I do the actual front end swapping and then the twin torque beams. I want to do a test drive just to make sure the transmission's working, because if it isn't, then I want to get that taken care of before I move on. So I'll post some more.